Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrek. Huge shout out to everybody on this beautiful Sunday, man. Hey, I hope everybody's doing great, and I hope everybody's been enjoying the weekend. Per usual, I have a handful of interesting and creepy videos, man, for us to go ahead and check out for ourselves, whether these are fact or fake. As you already know, on Sundays, what we like to do is a brand new episode on the front and a classic on the back for all the brand new fam that has just subscribed, man. So enjoy every bit of it. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, man. Smash that subscribe button and join the iTrek fam, man. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Alright, so what's the chip thing in the hand?
So anybody who scans their hand who comes in has an Amazon One account. And if they have an Amazon One account, it's going to whatever could be linked to their Amazon account profile. Whereas anybody who's inserting a card here is actually coming into the Hudson store, even though they're technically the same store.
And there's only, what, 4 in the United States?
There's only 4 Amazon Just Walk Out stores in just the United States. They've opened up a few new Go Fresh stores, so you can still use alternative payments there. But for Just Walk Out, Walk-In technology, it's just the 4. One's going to be in New York, one's in Los Angeles, one's going to be in Chicago, and one's right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Fantastic, perfect.
You guys, Apple has just released a digital ID for identification and US passports. Here we go. Now, reports say they will be merging their biometric security with encrypted ID storage and plans to replace your physical IDs across airports, apps, and businesses. Why don't I like this? They also said this is going to be used at over 250 TSA checkpoints across domestic airports for identity verification. Now, remember I told you guys about one of the richest men on earth, Larry Ellison, who owns TikTok and Oracle, and who's a big fan of digital IDs? Well, it seems like one big master plan between all the big tech companies. You have Microsoft dealing with OpenAI dealing with NVIDIA dealing with Oracle, xAI dealing with NVIDIA, and not to mention, OpenAI just did a $38 billion deal with Amazon for cloud storage. So the question is, what are they really planning? Well, I may have some answers. Could it be that they're following in the footsteps of China's Skynet, which is tied to digital IDs, a social credit score, and an AI surveillance system that they actually want to put on the moon? Skynet, huh? Why does this sound familiar? That's because it's the same name as the killer artificial intelligence in Terminator, Skynet. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. It's always in the movies. Make sure you guys go to my YouTube, Maverick Approach, where I do more breakdowns on this, but let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
Hey, this definitely isn't a coincidence, so don't even hop in the comments talking about it's a coincidence, because it's not. But, I mean, it's clear what the plan is. They've laid it out quite clearly. But the real question is, when do you think that they'll make it like a mandatory thing? That's the real question.
This is a breakdown of meats cut down from us and how they're distributed and what they're distributed as. You can screenshot this, you can blow it up, but please share and wake up a friend. That's why the curse is still on. Have a good day.
No. Where are they even serving that at if that's a real thing? I'm hoping that's cap. If you know something I don't, drop it in the comments.
Every religious leader has never answered questions like, okay, man has free will, right? What did that have to do with Katrina? If God is omnipotent, could he have prevented the monsoon? So I lost my faith right after my bar mitzvah. I started asking rabbis questions because they encouraged me to ask questions. Then I would ask questions of, I interviewed, except for the Pope, every major religious leader. Had a Russian Orthodox Church, had a Mormon Church, Catholic bishops, James Pike, the Episcopal bishop, and there's one that they never have an answer, and the same answer is, we don't question the ways of the Lord, or the Lord has a plan. Do you believe that some mystical figure up there has a plan for you, and the plan might be to blow you away in a hurricane?
You ever seen somebody die? It's peaceful, they be at peace. You ever seen a baby born? They screaming. Yeah, life is a way more shock than death for the soul because we come from somewhere else. And a lot of people don't know this, so a lot of people scared to die, but don't be.
Look at this image, this video that the New York Post released. This head was pulled out of the ocean. Now there's people saying this is a lumpfish. This is the creature from the Black Lagoon, is what this is. This is the closest image of what I found to be a lumpfish that looked like this weird head thing they found. That does not look the same to me. I don't know about you, but it looks quite different to me. This is the creature from the Black Lagoon, which looks a lot more like that object. It even looks more like this guy. This guy was Merman from the He-Man cartoon. This thing looks a lot more like some alien head coming out of the oceans, and with all that we've been hearing from the government about what's in the oceans, what's coming out of the oceans, and we haven't explored that much of it, I have questions about this. Very big questions, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments.
Hey, I don't know about you guys, but that fish definitely looked like an alien off a Predator. 100%.
I don't know if people are talking about this newly discovered species that looks like the facehugger from Alien. It's the Dulcibella comanchaca. It's a deep-sea predator that was just found in the Atacama Trench. This is the area I'm talking about. It's almost 5 miles deep, so it's pitch black. No sunlight, and the pressure is no bueno. Now, the Dulcibella comanchaca might look harmless, but do not fall for it. This little guy is ruthless.
I have no chill whatsoever.
I mean, look at its body. It's built to grab things, rip them apart, and then feast. It's kind of like a killer shrimp that's just dominating its environment. Now, hear me out. If this creature could exist in our ocean 5 miles deep with absolutely no sunlight, what does that mean for the other ocean worlds? Could we potentially find an alien that looks exactly like this? And okay, maybe not the exact same thing, but something similar, and hopefully not any bigger. So let me know your thoughts. Let's check.
Cake is to have the consistency of young human flesh.
It's spongy, it has life to it.
You're with a guy with brightly colored undergarments, and you got soft human flesh in front of you. You're in a weird place.
I'm looking forward to this. This is really, really going to be a great pancake.
Now that's the first time I've ever seen somebody turn something as wholesome as eating a pancake into something so strange and awkward, right? Like, why would I want to think about eating human flesh while eating my pancakes? And where would you even get that reference from?
Oh, if you get the devil's fame, all earthly fame is from the devil, period. He's the prince and power of the air. He's the God of this world. He wouldn't have offered it to Jesus if he didn't have it to give. He had it to give. Jesus just turned it down. Yeah. All these kingdoms I'll give you. This was his domain. That's why Jesus had to come. Jesus had to come to invade his domain to create all of us as invaders. You know what I mean? So this is his domain. So, I mean, if you take his riches, you owe him something. So he has to get something, make you do something.
Fun fact of the day. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was also a champion wrestler who performed the first choke slam in recorded history.
Saudi Arabia plays both sides too. Mm-hmm. It's really hard for Americans to understand how Middle Eastern culture works. It's an incredibly complicated, very sophisticated, deceitful culture, right? Because prior to the 1950s, all of the Middle East was a barren wasteland of Bedouins. They didn't have natural resources. They didn't have industry. They literally were just struggling to survive every day. It's easy to like just nod your head and say, oh, that's interesting. 1957, I think it was when the British found oil in Saudi Arabia, and they started signing deals with the families that owned the most tribal land to start drilling for oil, and then they started paying those families for the oil that they were drilling. Now, the money that started coming in completely revolutionized the Middle East. Totally. So that means from 1957 till today, which is less than 100 years, 1957 to today is one generation of people. There are still people walking through the streets in Saudi Arabia and UAE that were kids when oil was discovered in their country. Right. In their lifetime, they have gone from living in tents, riding camels, drinking camel milk, to riding on trains and airplanes that have their country blazed and costly.
Hey, you know what? He's not lying, because when Dubai first was being built, people couldn't fathom the things that they were doing, especially the Burj Khalifa, right? The tallest building on earth. It was mind-blowing.
Prayer is like a creeper. You know what I'm saying? See, you can pray to God and you can pray to demons. But I want to focus on praying to demons, you know what I'm saying? See, the thing is, I've prayed to demons before, and I've seen the results.
Hey, what kind of sinister stuff is that? I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable about his relationship with the devil being stronger than his relationship with God. That's pretty wild.
They want you to look up. We now have celebrities telling us that the sun is not normal all of a sudden. Videos starting to go viral again of crazy noises in the sky. And then remember what Tucker just did? Yeah, Amazon now has a special on it and the news is talking about it. Remember right when Tucker posted that video about those things, I was like, why they want us paying attention to the sky? And also not relevant at all, it's time for nice blue skies. Why? So first, this was posted by Grant Cardone's brother. Big money, you know. Check it out.
If you think this is normal, then I don't know what to tell you. Okay, I can't even look close to the sun. Unbelievable. This is not magnified any. You want to see magnified? There you go.
Now just watch as the billions of people who called us crazy are now telling us there's something wrong in the sky with the sun. And right after Tucker Carlson did his video on this, like clockwork, we have the news covering it and Amazon making movies about it. Are you serious? Now put your thinking cap on for 1 second. You know how long it takes to make a documentary? Of course, completely unrelated from Tucker. I mean, wow, the coincidence on how they both did that at the same exact time, right? I truly wonder what they want us paying attention to in the sky. By the way, completely irrelevant, we have this Dr. Abby coming out constantly on the news saying that this thing is absolutely an alien spaceship through Atlas. Members of Congress saying the same thing, and now the terrified Florida residents because the crazy banging in the sky.
So we all just got woken up to some disturbing sound all through the whole area. I just called 911 and they said they've gotten like over 50 calls about it.
That's wild, right? Oh, completely irrelevant. You remember all the solar storms that we just had? It's crazy how so many people will not believe something until the news says it.
There are case studies and reports of people with dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities inside of a person, where one of them has a medically diagnosable condition and the other one does not.
Are you shitting me?
No. One of them could be cortically blind, or one could have color blindness. One of them could have some kind of a diabetic condition. There were several conditions where these other personalities would have allergies even. Just upon reading this, I'm thinking, could I make someone with severe depression have an alter ego that doesn't have the depression? And we know that neurons that fire together wire together. So over the course of 6 months, if they keep doing this, can they kind of like rewire their brain if this alter keeps taking over?
Well, I guess any habit that you continue over a period of time will definitely fuse into your personality and bleed into actually who you are. There's definitely something to it.
Scientists in Germany have captured something incredible on camera for the first time ever. They recorded wild rats snatching bats straight out of the air in total darkness, an unbelievable hunting behavior no one had documented before. Since rats have poor eyesight, they rely on their highly sensitive whiskers to detect subtle changes in air pressure and movement, even the faint air currents from a bat's wings. Researchers believe this eerie adaptation is what allows them to hunt in complete darkness, and the finding may also help explain why bat-borne illnesses like coronaviruses are spilling over into rodent populations. Deep in the Guyanese rainforest, Kayatur Falls is nearly 4 times taller than Niagara. Its remote location means few people ever get to see it, and the surrounding cliffs host rare species found nowhere else on Earth. Beautiful, ain't it? NASA's New Horizons spacecraft captured this amazing footage of Pluto during its flyby in 2015, revealing frozen plains, towering ice mountains, and an unexpectedly active surface. The footage offered the first close-up look at Pluto in human history, and completely changed our understanding of the distant dwarf planet.
The metaphor, a person's heart on a scale being weighed against a feather. You ever heard that before or seen that?
No.
That in ancient Egypt, it's a depiction that's commonly seen, and it's very known, where they are the judges of our entire existence. That every single thing you're doing is being judged. And that the way that you can unlock higher places is because those things are allowed to happen. Like you earned them, and you proved through these trials and tribulations that we don't even know are real. That everything we're being judged on. They call themselves, it's the most amazing term, they call themselves in at least 3 tablets, the ordainers of destinies. That they're literally in charge of everything. And that there's a really fine line between free will and destiny that we don't really understand. And we don't have as much free will as we really think. That's really what it comes down to, which is good, because let's face it, I don't want to be at the mercy of some madmen. They're going to send off a bomb and blow us all up.
Right.
So if we're not really in charge, it gives me a lot of peace of mind, knowing that there is something much higher that's actually governing a lot of the path of humanity.
Well, I mean,
if there is a God who is all omnipotent and all knowing, that means God knows everything that's going to happen in the future.
Yes.
Which means there's no free will.
No. There isn't actually really free will, because time isn't what we think. There's no beginning and there's no end. Time is like a giant circle.
Right.
As it's been described in esoteric traditions.
Right.
That there is no beginning and there is no end. That it's a giant circle, and that the whole point is that we start somewhere and we get completely lost. That's the fun in the game of it, the story. And then we find our way back. And it's through those unexpected and impossibilities of us making our way back that makes it such an interesting story.
It's extremely interesting how people can apply what these ancient civilizations have put in these tablets and then apply it to what's going on to today. Because sometimes life can feel like that, right? There's so many levels to it, and once you get yourself right, your mentality or the circumstances around you, then you get to go on to the next level. There might be something to it at the same time. He definitely has to put on a different shirt next time he's on the podcast, right? It wasn't, it was screaming.
Sorcerers, which are humans practicing witchcraft.
Absolutely.
And then there are demons using people as well, which are spirits, unclean spirits that are ancient. They're jumping from child to child. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to travel?
They travel. They also too, so if they send a girl from one place to another place, they can literally portal from where they're at. A lot of people would call that like transcendental meditation, but it's not. It's something completely different, because they actually own them as territory. They literally own them as territory. They have a legal right. A human being to own them as territory. But when the Bible says that we're temples, he's not playing. We are meant to be sacred space.
That definitely reminds me of older clips that I have of people saying that aliens call humans just a container. So, man, when people are saying the same thing, man, you definitely got to look into it and do some homework, because as we know, where there's smoke, there's definitely some fire.
When this woman cut off her own robot's leg, the video went viral on the internet like wildfire. Because while Tesla's most advanced robot still can't walk like a human, people started making fun of China's Xpeng robot for walking like a supermodel, joking that there must be a real human hiding inside it. To prove everyone wrong, the company's CEO cut off one of its legs in front of everyone, showing that this is the brilliance of their engineering. It was then revealed that the real secret lies in its spine and lower back design, which can bend and twist just like a human body.
Hey, now you can't tell me that didn't look like a human. That was legit.
Let's talk about the weird stuff. Not aliens, not quantum physics. Let's talk about what happened after 1988 that no one can explain, but somehow feels like it explains everything. Right around that year, there was a quiet little boom, not in tech, not in media, but in people trying to get everyone's minds in sync. Suddenly, all these coherence-based movements started popping up. Groups claiming they could sync human consciousness, create global harmony, raise the planet's vibration, all with meditation, mantras, or mental discipline. And on the surface, sounds beautiful. But the deeper you dig, the more this starts to feel like a rollout, not a movement. Like someone or something was running an update on the software of human consciousness. Let's go there. The Global Consciousness Project out of Princeton pops up in the late 80s and early 90s, claiming random number generators around the world were reacting to global emotional events. Like reality itself was syncing with collective thought. Meanwhile, the Maharishi effect, named after the guy who taught the Beatles transcendental meditation, was being pushed in cities and schools, claiming that large groups meditating together could reduce crime, lower aggression, and even influence physical systems. It was getting funding. It was being studied. Quiet. And then there's the Silva method, a mind control training course developed in the 60s, but it exploded in popularity after 1988. You could reprogram your mind through directed visualization and enter altered states of reality. It's the same tech used in Project Stargate, MK Ultra, and psychological warfare programs that tried to weaponize the mind. But suddenly, it wasn't just military anymore. It was going mainstream. See, that's the part that hits me hardest, because it wasn't just self-help or fringe meditation techniques. It was happening everywhere. Global synchronized meditations, children's programming with hidden mantras, corporations pushing mindfulness apps disguised as productivity tools.
Don't even believe, it's my personal belief, after things I've seen, I'm getting chills now. In conversations I've had with billionaires, everybody is not a flesh and blood human being like you are not. Are not. They are not. There are other people there are other beings that walk among us, and that is a fact. And the supernatural exists. They paint a picture as all of this stuff doesn't exist because they serve it. I just want to put that out there because, Robert Bigelow said to my face that they walk among us. And he elaborated some more, you feel me? I'm gonna let you control the conversation pace, but I want to throw that in there because too many things take place that are anti-human beings.
Your aura, according to the sages, 88 inches around you. And when someone with a lower vibration, which is the feeling of lack and jealousy, gets close to you, you are absorbing their energy and they are siphoning energy away from you. Even if they're being nice to us, we feel an underlying lack that is pulling our energy away from us. But here's the secret. You can only be affected by someone's negative energy if you depend on them for energy. If you need their approval, if you need their money, if you need their validation, if you need something from them, you are puncturing your own aura. So ask yourself, what am I trying to take from this person? You do not need anything from anyone. The light of the Creator exists within you. That means you can create any destiny you want.
And you know what? Kanye West did say something recently that I just watched. And basically he said it in a real raw state. And he said we're all using each other. But a lot of people aren't aware or even recognizing why they're around certain people. And when you stop and think about it, you'll realize why you're around that person or why they might be around you.
We would have all kinds of things going on, especially seances. And we had a lot of seances there, and it was a lot of fun until it turned to be quite scary. We did this one seance, which I always thought somebody was pushing the thing or whatever. And they said,
"You're talking about Ouija board
yeah,
stuff?" Yeah.
They said, "Who is this?" "Oh, this is Baal, the devil." So,
Really?
Yeah. I say, "Oh well, give us a sign." And so suddenly thunder struck out and was like, whoa, we were all kind of scared and everything. So that was one time, and we all ran to bed. And then another time we have a seance, and I forget who it was. It was one of these spirits that come in, and they said, ha 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 ha, don't worry, all your tapes wiped off. And it was the next day, tape all wiped off, completely wiped off. In fact, on that album it says no thanks to Baal on it.
I hit 9 G's, so 9 times the force of gravity, whatever you weigh on your bathroom scale, multiply that by 9. First, I notice my color vision goes, and then I start to get tunnel vision. Within a split second, I'm just complete light loss, so blackness. But I'm still conscious. I still have my senses, right? I can feel the stick and throttle, but I can't see anything. Casually flying along at 400 plus miles an hour, 20,000 feet in the air, trying to gun the other jet. Me G-locking, I'm the only pilot in that jet. It can fly into the ground when the pilot's unconscious. It's happened many times. That was a lower priority to me than winning.
Success, yeah.
Yeah, which is wild.
Okay, so do y'all know that we are currently in the midst of a severe geomagnetic storm? Yeah, just posting this in case the power grid actually does go down, because I just watched a video from one of the staff at the NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and Buddy was talking about the fact that right now they're having 2 CMEs, which they call coronal mass ejections, that came from the sun and affected the earth and packed the punch way stronger than they expected, to the point where at a severe G4 level. Now they're saying that CMEs are like solar flares that emit all types of materials that can affect our magnetic field. Stay with me. And what they're saying is this could have adverse effects on us. But the kicker is that on November 12th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they're stating that there's going to be a third one that can not only affect our GPS system, but could potentially affect our electric grid. Now, all throughout Africa and Europe right now, they're experiencing radio blackouts. And in North America, all over, people are talking about the fact that they can see the northern lights from Alaska to Tennessee to Ohio to Colorado to Texas, Alabama. Anywhere you look, people are posting videos about the northern lights, which are completely abnormal. Mind you, The irony in this, that we are currently amidst a full-on shutdown to where when you go on the NOAA site, you can't access much information. And NASA is not releasing any pictures of this whole three-eye atlas that's supposed to be a comet, even though this Harvard scientist is stating that it could be some type of alien tech. However, you have Japan Airspace allegedly releasing some type of picture stating that this is what they see when they look at three-eye atlas. But all of this is happening at the same time. It's just a culmination of chaos with limited information, because I'm wondering, how is this not all being plastered? Even if it's potential, even if it's not completely certain, why is it that people aren't being made aware of what's going on? Even though, we have all of this other chaos happening, I feel like preparation-wise, people should at least know what to expect. God forbid you're traveling and right now the GPS system just completely shut down, or worse, the whole power grid. But do y'all think this is real, or is this just a lot more fear-mongering? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you're keeping up with this. I can't confirm or deny anything, but the timing is just absolutely uncanny to me. Whatever else I do find out, though, I will be back, but don't want to misinform you, so always encourage y'all to do your research, because I'm always just going based off the information that I can access online. But always make sure to come back to you, so like, follow, and stay for some more.
When you think of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, what images do you think of? Each had a very distinct style of what the culture was like, with very specific fashion, TV shows, music, design, and everything else. But after 1999, that all stopped. You could look at a TV show from 2005 or 2025, and how the people act and dress and design their spaces pretty much stayed the same. At least, that's the strange thought-provoking theory people are starting to talk about. And I can tell you, I was there. The 80s and the 90s were so distinctly different from each other, and we could see looking back at how different each decade was from the 50s through to the 90s. We were fully aware. That's why Back to the Future was such a fantastic movie. The nostalgia from the 50s was palpable. But the questions I keep coming back to are, why have the decades since 2000 seemed relatively the same? Are we stuck in a time warp? Has culture ground to a halt on purpose? I decided to collect all the evidence I could find of this bizarre Matrix-style time freeze and see if we can figure out what's actually going on. Is it just a pile of technological and social issues creating this, or is there evidence of other theories? Let's go through all of them. Join me, investigative researcher Rob Counts, for a metaphysical show that's out of this world. Time warp concept now, and it gets even weirder if you start looking at people's appearances. Now, I know what you're gonna say.
I can't tell you exactly what year it is, because we honestly don't know.
I can't tell you what year it is either. And if you think about it, we're sort of existing in the Matrix time warp concept now, and it gets even weirder if you start looking at people's appearances. Now, I know what you're gonna say. How could things be the same in all the years since 2000? Look at all the massive advancements in computers and technology. I mean, sure, I get it. It's not that nothing has changed. We're talking about cultural distinctions between our decades. But the craziest of all for me of this Matrix time warp was one example I saw on social media. If you watch The Office, which I do, and it's consistently ranked as one of the most popular shows of all time, all of what they're wearing and how their hair is styled and everything looks just like today. You could not guess the year any episode was filmed if you didn't already know, because it literally could be any year beginning with a 2.
They're the same picture.
The Office actually ran from 2005 to 2013, so it should be decades out of date. But teenagers today have a more extreme version of Jim's hair in season 1. They have a fluffy mop or semi-perm of broccoli hair now.
I mean, that is an interesting observation, but at the same time, you have to understand he's only talking about America. I mean, the rest of the world, they're pretty much still catching up to what's going on in America. Besides a select few countries, like there are some countries that are way advanced and living way in the future already. I mean, Dubai, Japan, there's places that have already, surpassed us. So, I mean, it just depends on where you're looking.
Name one job that will be here in 10 years, and I will show you a robot that's already doing it.
What about like a plastic surgeon or a dentist doing a cosmetic?
Go to Boston Dynamics YouTube channel and tell me that they don't already have a robot to replace anything that you have to say. Every time somebody says, oh, well, what about a roofer? Bro, a roofing robot was invented 2 years ago. On top of the roof, it will remove the shingles and install new shingles all as it's going over top of the roof. So people are like, oh, roofers, landscapers. Okay, cool. Let's look at the transportation industry. 7 million people work in the transportation industry. Uber drivers, truck drivers, logistical people. All of those people, 7 million people, are they going to be around in 5 years?
What about pilots? There's been a lot of aviation accidents recently.
Everybody's already talking about how within 2-3 years, all the main commercial companies are going to no longer have 2 pilots. They're going to have a 1 pilot cockpit. The rest of it's going to be ran by AI.
Will we ever see a 150-person Southwest jet with no pilots?
100%.
You think so?
Less than 10 years.
So 3 to 5 years, universal basic income will definitely be a thing. I mean, I had no clue that there were robots already replacing roofers. That's pretty interesting.
The fact is, our food supply has been altered and adulterated under our very noses and in plain sight over the past 30 years.
The amount of sugar in our food is no accident. The food industry goes to great lengths to figure out what makes us crave a product. The exact combination of ingredients is called the bliss point. The food scientists use models to test people's reactions to different versions of products. Once they find the bliss point, the product hits the shelves.
All this started with a guy named Edward Bernays. He was the guy that invented the term PR, and he changed the term from propaganda to public relations. He's the reason our butter or margarine got dyed yellow. He's the reason that we think bacon is part of an American breakfast because the pork industry needed to sell more bacon. He's the reason the Department of War was changed to the Department of Defense. He's the reason that women started smoking Virginia Slims back in the 70s when it was inappropriate for women to smoke. So he organized a parade called Torches of Freedom, where women would go and smoke in the street and just say F you to everybody. So he was the biggest propagandist probably in the last 400 or 500 years in the world. This guy invented all of these processes to shape perception and change how people behave. And he was actually Sigmund Freud's nephew.
There's a specific smell that instantly makes your brain smarter. And you've definitely smelled it before, but probably don't know what it is. Neuroscientists found this scent increases alertness, memory, and focus by stimulating the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for learning and recall. In one study, people exposed to it performed better on memory and typing tests. It's peppermint. So next time you're studying or working, skip the Red Bull. Just grab some peppermint oil.
Oh, so that means you could just put it in a diffuser and feel like Einstein all day. All right, I like that.
And they taught me different concepts like that. They taught me some things like if I walked into a room, they said the room appeared, but when I left the room, it was gone. And I told my mother, and she said, well, that sounded very selfish. But it turned out that that was true. It turns out that we create as we focus, and what we're not focused on doesn't exist.
Like I tell you, everybody playing a character. I told you today, Bob, every time you get up, you playing a character. When your mama call, you playing a character. You playing son. You don't talk to your mama like you talk to your hoe. And when your call, you playing man. No, keep it a real game. Right. And when the landlord can't call, you playing tenant. Everybody playing all fucking day and act like nobody acting. But everybody run around acting.
Not that I needed proof he existed, but shocking new research on the Shroud of Turin, the 14-foot cloth many believe Jesus was buried in, has unveiled very intriguing new discoveries. Recent wide-angle X-ray studies have shown details consistent with a death by crucifixion, revealing a man who experienced a tragedy aligning with historical accounts. This advanced technology also provides a more accurate dating method, suggesting the shroud could date back to approximately 2,000 years. Additionally, the imaging indicates that the image on the shroud is not a painting, but results from complex chemical reactions involving linen fibers and human blood. The evidence on the shroud aligns with the wounds described in crucifixion, including scourge marks, nail wounds, and even a crown of thorns.
A lot of people ask me what I think happens after we die, and my answer is nothing. And I don't mean darkness. A lot of people confuse darkness with nothingness. If you close your eyes, you're going to see darkness, but you're still aware of the darkness. Nothingness has no sensation, no awareness, and no you. I think death is exactly what it was like before we were born, which was nothing. There's two conflicting philosophers that I typically bounce between for this topic, and that is Epicurus and Martin Heidegger. Epicurus famously said, "Death is nothing to us, for when we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we do not exist." For him, the wise man does not let death haunt their life, because when they exist, death is not there. Heidegger doesn't want us to downplay death. He wants us to understand it. He wants us to recognize that we are not beings who will someday die in the future, but that death is part of our ontology and that we can die at any second. And most of the time we refuse to face that truth. We hide inside what Heidegger calls the they, which is the everyday mindset where we think of death as something that happens to other people, but never to us. Heidegger says that we should be toward death, which is an understanding of our own most indefinite and inevitable possibility of death. That is a huge simplification, but I think it gets the point. Heidegger thinks it's only through being toward death that we can become authentic. Death doesn't rob us of meaning, but it gives us the clarity to create our own life rather than hiding behind the they. Because if we stop looking at death as something that happens to other people and we start looking at our own, we realize that no one can do this for us. It's only up to you to handle and perceive your own death. So I do believe that death is just nothingness, and I bounce between these two philosophies where an Epicurean approach is death is nothing as long as I'm here, death is not. But I also am attracted to this Heidegger approach, which is, no, you are a being who dies. It is part of your ontology. It's only through that understanding that you can become whole.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're living your life the right way and you know what the right way is, then there's really nothing to ever be fearful of. Nothing.
And right over from where John Paul II was just burning, over to the left a little bit, I saw a little stage and I saw Michael Jackson. And that really threw me for a loop. I could not believe what I was seeing. I knew it was Michael Jackson. The moment that my eyes found his shape, I knew it was Michael Jackson. And he was dancing, he was screaming, he was crying, he was on fire, and he was dancing on a stage for demons. There were demons right in front of him. And I knew that he could never stop dancing. Anytime he would want to stop dancing, the demons would light him on fire again, throw fire at his feet, throw pebbles, brimstone that was flaming fireballs at him, so that he would have to start again, and he would have to keep on dancing, and he could never stop. And he was doing the Michael Jackson dance moves, the ones that we all know, the moonwalk, the leg kick, every single one. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I just could not believe it.
Discovery 5. The global pattern and what comes next. Now, if Britcard was just a UK phenomenon, if it was just one country experimenting with digital identification, that would be concerning enough. But here's what should terrify every person watching prophecy unfold. This isn't just the UK. This is the template. This is the model that's being rolled out globally. Let me show you what's happening simultaneously around the world. The European Union Digital Identity Wallet. In July 2024, the EU passed regulation creating a European Digital Identity Wallet. It's mandatory for all EU member states to offer it by 2026. The features: biometric verification, centralized database, integration with banking, healthcare, and travel, real-time tracking capability. Sound familiar? It's the same system as Britcard. Different name, same function. 27 countries, 450 million people, all moving toward mandatory biometric digital ID simultaneously. The United Nations has a project called ID 2020. The stated goal is to provide digital identity to everyone on Earth by 2030. Everyone on Earth by 2030. They call it providing identity to the marginalized. They say it's about financial inclusion, accessing services, proving who you are. But the end result is the same: a global digital identity system, biometric, centralized, mandatory, and 2030 is only 5 years away. China's social credit system. And if you want to see where all of this is heading, look at China. They've already implemented it. China's social credit system links your digital ID to your behavior. Everything you do is monitored, scored, and restricted based on your compliance. Say something the government doesn't like. Your score drops. Try to buy a train ticket? Denied. Try to get a loan? Denied. Try to send your kids to a good school? Denied. Total control, total surveillance, total compliance required for basic participation in society. And the technology for China's system? Much of it was developed by Western tech companies. Revelation 13:7-8, Global Authority. Now let's connect this to Scripture, because what we're seeing is exactly what Revelation predicted. Revelation 13:7-8. It was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And it was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. All inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all whose names have not been written in the Lamb's book of life, the Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. Authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. Not just one country, not just one region. Every tribe, every people, every language, every nation. The mark system is global.
Now, if you ever were curious about what that blueprint might look like or what the end game was, that clip right there explained it to the T.
Machiavelli has that quote, so that if you expect everybody to be good in this world, you're in a lot of trouble. You know, what are you going to do when you deal with people who aren't good? But yeah, you have to be willing to get your hands dirty. Let's say a classic example, like there's a cause that's very important to you, like the climate or racial justice in America, all very important issues that most of us believe in. You have to be willing to get down and dirty here because you're playing with politics. You're playing with people who are going to resist. You're playing with major corporations who are going to bust your balls, who are going to be incredibly manipulative and downright evil in co-opting your good idea and kind of neutralizing it. So if you want to create something, if you want to actually have results, you have to be willing to get a little dirty, and you have to be willing to be strategic. You have to understand that the other side might not be playing by the same rules that you're playing with.
Hey, what he's speaking on is facts, not necessarily in relationships, but in life. The nice person in regards to like money and business, man, you get ate up.
Dictionary.com might be single-handedly destroying society. They just announced their word of the year for 2025, and it's way worse than you think. You guys still got 2 months left, you know that? You sure you don't want to think this one over? Every year, they announce a specific word that captures the cultural spirit for that year. There's dozens of these word of the year lists out there, chosen by the likes of Oxford, Cambridge Dictionary, Merriam-Webster, the whole gang. But Dictionary.com, these guys are doubling down on the brain rot, and they're straight up admitting it. Because their word for 2025 isn't even a word, it's 6-7. Like the number, not even spelled out as a word. 6-7. Well, that was a good run. This might officially be the end of that meme or whatever it was. Never mind it not even being a word. Words also need a definition, but according to dictionary.com, 6-7 is impossible to define. But if you thought they were done, just listen to what the runner-up words for 2025 were. We had aura farming, broligarchy, clanker, which is probably going to be offensive in a few years, the dynamite emoji, which also isn't a word, Gen Z stare, kiss cam, over tourism, tariff, and tradwife, short for traditional wife. I'm honestly just shocked type shit wasn't on that list. Maybe 2026 is its year. But bro, if these are the types of words we're going to be adding into our formal vocabulary every year, then brain rot might just be the official world language of the New World Order or whatever's coming next. Idiocracy really was right about everything.
Man, I've never one time used 6-7 in a sentence. Like never. Like I've never even met a person that's 6-7. So, I mean, I really don't know what to do all that. But if you've used it in a sentence, drop it in the comments. Let me know how you use 6-7 in a sentence and without referring to it as a height.
China's coming out with a $40,000 car. It has like 450 miles of range, headlights of a McLaren and the body of the Purosangue Ferrari, and it has like 1,400 horsepower. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, it's no wonder that it's not allowed to sell these products in the US because none of our companies would compete. They are so much more advanced.
PlayStation want to say Trump, we salute you. They have always known about Trump. Oh, yeah.
Listen, it's not as simple as just changing the clocks. Walk us through what actually happens to our bodies when the time changes.
So there's lots of different clocks, not just in your brain, but all throughout your body. And these clocks operate on rhythms that control everything from our blood pressure and heart rate to our metabolism to our immune system. And just like with jet lag, when our internal clock no longer matches the time in the external clock, then it creates some disruption that sometimes takes a little bit of time to resolve and get back in sync.
People who survived the impossible, Part 3. A 42-year-old Russian fisherman was viciously attacked by a brown bear in 2014, but he was spared when the ringtone his granddaughter installed onto his phone suddenly went off. Justin Bieber's song Baby miraculously sent the bear running back into the woods like a bitch. Titanic survivor Dick Williams spent over 6 hours waist deep in freezing waters before being rescued. Doctors wanted to amputate both of his legs, but he refused because he wanted to continue playing tennis. He made a full recovery and went on to become a US tennis champion in mixed doubles. In 2014, 3-year-old Karina Chikatova survived in the Siberian wilderness for 11 days with nobody other than her dog. She ate wild berries, drank from a river, and curled up with her dog for warmth. She was saved when her dog managed to find her village and guide rescuers toward her. In 1915, Mexican man Wenceslao Moguel was sentenced to execution and shot 9 times by a firing squad. But he managed to survive every shot, including the coup de grace, a final shot to the head at point-blank range to ensure death. He went on to live for another 70 years, finally dying in 1976.
Tell me that you're determined to live without telling me that you're determined to live, right? That's crazy.
Before May 6, 1954, it was universally accepted that the human body simply could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But then Roger Bannister, a 25-year-old medical student, made history by running a mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Then, within a span of just a few years, numerous other athletes broke the 4-minute barrier as well. Not just a record was broken by Roger Bannister's sprint, but a psychological barrier as well. And suddenly, the impossible became possible. We all have our own 4-minute mile, the thing that feels impossible until we see someone else do it. This is why it's so important to surround ourselves with others who are ahead of us. Befriend other people who are succeeding at the things that you want to succeed at, and suddenly the impossible feels possible.
Is rap music really dying? For the first time in over 35 years, not one single rap song has made the top 40 of Billboard's Hot 100. Just think about that. Every single week since 1990, which is almost 2,000 weeks in a row, a rap song has made it into the top 40 until today. History once again. Now there's 2 main reasons to this. One, which you'll hear unks in the comments saying, they don't make music like they used to. But secondly, Billboard recently made a rule change which removes songs if they are too old. Therefore, the last one, Hanging On, Luther by Kendrick, was recently taken out back. But I guess even that is beside the point, because what happened to all the music released in 2025? So the question has to be asked, is rap music dying, or is it just one bad year?
Or maybe Drake really did expose how these record labels manipulate the streams. I think that might have a lot to do with it.
Are you still completely convinced that this is a simulation?
I didn't say I was completely convinced.
Well, you said it's like the odds of it not being are in the billions. Well, I guess that's not completely, because you're saying there's a chance.
What are the odds that we're in base reality?
There's a building in Los Feliz with no visible front door, housing a library of 50,000 rare occult books, founded by a man who wrote a 300,000-word encyclopedia of secret wisdom when he was only 27 years old. Now, in my last videos, I covered a bunch of other orders and mystery schools, so if you're into that, make sure you go and check those out. But today, we are looking at the Philosophical Research Society in Los Angeles. It was founded in 1934 by Manly P. Hall. Now, Hall was a self-educated writer who moved to LA as a teenager. At 18, he became a minister, but left at 20 to study ancient texts, philosophy, and esoteric traditions full-time. Now, in 1928, at age 27, he published The Secret Teachings of All Ages, a massive encyclopedia covering Masonic symbolism, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, alchemy, tarot, and all other world religions. Over 300,000 words in this book with elaborate mystical illustrations too. It's never been out of print and has sold over 1 million copies. Now, with wealthy patrons funding his work, Hall founded PRS in 1934 on Los Feliz Boulevard. The campus was designed in Mayan and modern styles and is now a Los Angeles historic site. It includes an auditorium where Hall delivered over 7,000 lectures, a bookstore, a gallery, and a world-class research library with over 50,000 rare volumes of esoteric and metaphysical texts. Now, the library vault contains some of the rarest spiritual books in the world. The original printing plates of the Secret Teachings of All Ages, ancient grimoires, alchemical manuscripts, rare Rosicrucian texts, and all other esoteric materials that you can't find anywhere else. Now, what's unique about Hall is he never tried to become a guru or start a cult. He just lectured, wrote, researched, and maintained PRS as a public educational institution. He advised people to take all spiritual teachings with common sense and humor, even his own. Now, the campus is still open Tuesday through Friday. You can visit the bookstore, attend lectures and concerts, take classes on mythology and metaphysics, and if you're a member, access the library. The place has been a meeting point for artists, philosophers, and seekers in LA for over 90 years now. So, yeah, a historic campus in Los Feliz preserving rare occult knowledge, founded by a guy who wrote the Encyclopedia of Western Esotericism before he turned 30, is still out there today. Now, if you want to learn more about modern-day mystery schools and esoteric institutions like these, make sure to like the video, let me know what you think about PRS in the comments below, and follow for more deep dives into groups like this. Until next time.
Hey, those mystery schools are a hot topic. I mean, if you know, you know.
When you die, you wake up, and it's almost like a dream. You wake up and you're like, okay, that was just a dream. This is who I am. But you're not I don't think you're like a human form, right? I think like when you wake up, but when you wake up, you are just like one with all. I think that the people that we lose, their spirits are always with us, with who they were in that time and how they influenced us in our life. Because I truly believe that the soul leaves your body and goes into another plane of existence of the energy, and they decide when they want to come back and learn something else.
Okay. Nobody knows what happens. Really knows. Nobody knows when you die. Nobody knows what happens when you die.
But I know that mediums, one in particular that I trust, that didn't pay anything to, by the way, who was it was the mom of a girl that I used to date. So like fully trusting. She wasn't getting anything from me. It was just a conversation. And she was talking to me, but talking like behind me. She wasn't looking at me. And she's like, yeah, I'm talking to your spirits. You have spirits who are with you. And they're telling me about like your past lives. These are ancestors, not from your family lineage, from your soul's lineage.
I believe, like I said, energy, spirits even. I don't know. I'm a little iffy on that too. But as for mediums and people being able to communicate with the dead.
Way too much evidence for all that stuff.
No. You've been watching Ghost Hunters, man.
No, I'm not watching Ghost Hunters. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy today because you can't tell what's real and not with AI. Anyway. Yeah. So it's like with all the UFO videos, it's like I can't even watch this anymore because my first thought is, how would I make this on the computer?
I feel like a lot of life can be explained just depending on where you look. You know, if you're trying to dig deep into like UAPs and UFOs, you might want to look in the direction of DARPA. You know, spirituality and, you know, what's going on within. You might want to look at some of the greatest teachers, spiritual teachers. So there's a lot, you know, going on in life just depending on where you're looking at.
Remember this, nobody will play the victim more than the person that actually caused the damage.
Soon as you say the devil's responsible, all bets are off. I don't believe in the devil, no hell. So I'm not even religious at this point. Many of the cases we've investigated where people felt really scared was nothing paranormal at all, because they were so into believing this stuff, whether it's religious or pop culture, they interpreted it as demonic.
Apparently the entire city of Dubai is filled with abandoned supercars, like this $500,000 Lamborghini, $2 million Bugattis, and this $3 million Ferrari. And you might think it's because people are just so rich there they forget about them. But it's actually the exact opposite, because in Dubai it's illegal to go bankrupt or miss payments, and if you do you could face 5 years in jail. So when people try and live the rich life and fail, they just leave the cars, then leave the country and never go back. And they're left abandoned for so long because they have to sit for at least 6 months before the government can take them and auction them off for barely anything, or they're just given to the police. So don't go broke in Dubai.
Now if that was going on in the US, boy, half the population would be doing time. Don't lie.
They're celebrities with strange body parts. So Harry Styles openly claims 2 extra nipples that sit below his pecs, a rarity that less than 1% of people have, and model Karolina Kurkova was born with no belly button and is typically photoshopped onto her photographs by editors to conceal it. Vince Vaughn is missing the end of his right thumb as a result of a car crash when he was 17, and Matthew Perry has a large portion of his middle finger missing from a door accident when he was younger. Kesha was born with a 1/4-inch vestigial tail that was cut off by doctors, and Gemma Arterton from Bond was born with 2 extra fingers but also had them removed when she was a baby. Bollywood actor Rithik Roshan has 2 thumbs on his right hand and claims it to be good luck so we'd never get it removed, while Megan Fox has club thumbs in which the end bone is shorter and rounder than the average. Kate Bosworth, Max Scherzer, and Mila Kunis all have heterochromia in which they have 2 different eye colors, and finally, Andy Garcia was born with an undeveloped conjoined twin attached to his shoulder that had to get removed when he was a child, for which he still has a scar to this day to show for it. Pretty cool, right?
Everything seemed to be pretty normal except for the no belly button thing. I mean, how does one get fed without an umbilical cord? Definitely enlighten enlighten me in the comments.
Some crazy things happening in the world right now. An asteroid earlier this month passed over Antarctica just 100 miles above it. Nobody on Earth realized that this happened until after it happened. That's terrifying. A Catholic university in Australia was caught using AI to wrongly accuse students of cheating with AI. This resulted in some students not receiving graduate positions because it took over 6 months to clear their accusations. A flight in Europe was diverted after 2 passengers were arrested. One of them was eating pages of their own passport, and the other flushed his down a toilet. Americans are using PTO to sleep, not for vacation, a new report just came out. SpaceX built an escape system that could save astronauts in seconds. It's basically a giant slide that accelerates the astronaut up to 400 miles per hour to get into safety. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. The Breaking Bad star Raymond Cruz was arrested after spraying his neighbor's child with a garden hose while washing his car.
About the girl who was cleaning the grave. She would just go online and just clean up graves and all this. A lot of people think that she kind of crossed the line because one day she had seen a child's grave with teddy bears and so she took all the teddy bears home to wash them at her house to make them look brand new. After she did that video, like a lot of people start noticing a lot of weird things in her videos. Like there's a shovel that's like stuck in the ground, right? Mind you, her hair is not moving, her clothes aren't winding, and you see the shovel moving like this. Back and forth like this. It's dug in the ground. And then after that video, she hasn't done another like grave cleaning video ever since then.
Hollywood exists because Thomas Edison was a dick. Have you ever stopped to wonder why the American entertainment industry is largely based in Southern California? The obvious answer is that the weather is nice there most of the year, but the dawn of cinema in the US actually happened on the East Coast in New York and New Jersey. You see, in 1891, inventor Thomas Edison was at the forefront of moving image technology. He patented an early camera known as the kinetograph and a viewer called the kinetoscope. 2 years later, he opened the country's first movie studio, Black Maria, in West Orange, New Jersey, where he'd produced nearly 1,200 films. But Edison didn't want anyone competing with his new movie technology, so he formed an alliance with other film patent owners called the Motion Picture Patents Company, also known as the Trust. They owned the process of motion picture processing and projection equipment, and together they charged high licensing fees to independent filmmakers to use their patents. And if you didn't fall in line, Edison would bury you in copyright infringement lawsuits. So a number of those independent filmmakers thought, screw this, we'll go where Edison can't get to us. And they fled to the West Coast, far away from Edison's sphere of influence. Cross-continental communication was a lot slower at the time, so it was harder for Edison to track them down. Many of those filmmakers then settled in the newly established town of Hollywood, which was originally a religious community, hence the name. And Edison did try to keep suing them, but in 1915 the Supreme Court ruled against him, saying he could no longer use his patents to thwart rival filmmakers.
Here's some fun things you probably didn't know. Wi-Fi doesn't stand for anything, it's just a made-up brand name. Apple's first logo showed Isaac Newton sitting under a tree. The first digital photo was taken in 1957. It was a picture of a baby's face. And Google's original name was Backrub.
Tom Cruise's religion apparently forced members to build him this luxury motorcycle. Here's how. Because you and me love Tom, but it wasn't always this way. Because back in the 80s, his movies aren't great and his reputation struggles, so his career's about to end. But then something magical happens. Tom discovers Scientology, which forms this symbiotic relationship. But Tom gives Scientology legitimacy and millions of dollars in free publicity, so now Tom's their #1 asset. Except that means Tom can't leave or it'll destroy the church, so apparently they give him all kinds of perks and shower him with praise. So Tom stays and ends up becoming a superstar, which helps the church, who then give him more perks. Except that's a problem because the perks need to keep getting bigger or Tom might leave. So allegedly, the church goes to this member, who's a world-class motorcycle artist, and tell him to create Tom's bike, which he listens to because it's for the church. But then he escapes and reveals the truth. He worked 100-hour weeks and got paid nothing, while these guys apparently made millions.
And you know, the stories that continue to come out about Scientology, pretty mind-blowing, pretty creepy.
Spectacle, because that's what sells. But what if you could sell your music whether it was good or not? That's the case for level 4, the Nepo baby. These artists were industry before they were even artists. They grew up in recording studios, they had dinner with label executives, got babysat by other pop stars. They'll talk about their journey, their struggle, their grind, but they had access to producers, writers, studios, nannies. They could fail as much as they want and still get another shot. The Nepo baby has mommy and daddy to give them every opportunity they need. Failure is not possible. Willow and Jaden Smith were destined before they were even born. Willow dropped Whip My Hair at 10 years old on Rock Nation. And then she got to quit music because it was too much pressure. Then she got to come back whenever she felt like it. She could experiment with rock and indie, whatever sound she wanted because, failing had no consequence. Then you got Blue Ivy. Now, she did a good job voice acting on Mufasa, but should she really have a Grammy?
Blue, congratulations. She won a Grammy tonight. I'm so proud of you.
When your mom is Beyonce, it don't matter what should be. It just is. Now, the next Nepo baby might surprise some of you guys, but yes, Drake is a Nepo baby. The most talented one for sure, but if you don't believe me, I think it's time that we actually meet the Grahams. So, his dad, Dennis Graham, was a drummer who worked with Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis was one of the pioneers for rock and roll. Then you got his uncle, Larry Graham, who was a singer himself, and he was a bass player for Sly and the Family Stone, one of the most famous funk groups of all time. And then you got his other uncle, Teenie Hodges, who was a songwriter and guitar player for Al Green. Drake was playing on Degrassi and making $50 grand a year when he was a teenager. When that ended, he had money and connections that could fund his own mixtapes. Now, starting from the bottom is great branding, but the bottom was middle class with industry connections. But the most successful and possibly the saddest of them all is level 5, the super plant. The super plant is as close to a robot as you can get. They don't write their own music, they don't choose their image, they don't control their social media. They show up, perform the role they've been given, and then they just collect a percentage. Most of them started from childhood and have even been put through development programs. There's people that control what they eat, control what they say. They'll pretend to date somebody just because it's good for their image. Their whole life becomes content. And sadly, they're the ones that usually have the most trauma and depression and mental health issues. Britney Spears is probably the most tragic example of the super plant. When Britney was on the Mickey Mouse Club, it was basically an all-star training camp. You had Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling. They were all kids being groomed for stardom. But when Britney signed with Jive Records when she was 15, they created the whole package for her.
Now, if you want to talk about nepotism, that's in every industry of life. Like every single industry you could think of, nepotism somewhere in there. But when we're talking about super plants, if you haven't noticed, the majority of those super plants have crashed all the way out. Isn't pretty what happens at the end.
This joke on live TV became a chilling prediction of murder. Christina's Court was a courtroom show where Judge Christina Perez handled real disputes. However, one episode became memorable for all the wrong reasons. Comedian Sean Harris appeared to sue his ex-girlfriend for unpaid rent. The case was lighthearted, filled with jokes, until he aimed one at the show's bailiff. When Sean learned Renard had been married for 27 years, he laughed and said,
People in love, they yell at each other all the time.
Oh, that's true. Ask him, he's been married for how long?
Over 27 years.
Over 27
Look at him, though.
years.
He look mad. You don't look happy, brother. You don't look happy.
The audience loved it, and the moment became one of the show's funniest exchanges. But a decade later, in 2019, a sheriff's deputy, Renard Spivey, was charged with murdering his wife, Patricia. This happened after an argument at their home. Police found her body in the closet. Spivey got a 14-year sentence. He will spend the rest of his life in prison for killing the woman he once called his happily married partner.
The irony in that situation was funny, but not that funny. You get what I'm saying? Because somebody lost their life, but how rare and how random.
The rarest thing on Earth is so mysterious that at any given moment, there are only 28 grams of it on our entire planet. To put that into perspective, this is what 28 grams of sugar looks like. And if you were somehow able to collect every single gram of it from all over the world, it would instantly vaporize itself from its own radiation before you could even see it. So how do we even know it exists? In the early 1900s, we had what is known as a missing spot on the periodic table, a halogen that should come after iodine, with the atomic number 85. Between the 1930s and 40s, researchers thought they found element 85 a number of times, giving it a wild variety of names, but the element was so unstable that by the time they analyzed it, it had already decayed, because every single one of its isotopes has a half-life of 1 second or less, meaning that half the atoms in a sample will decay into other elements within 1 second or less, making this element extremely hard to study because it is constantly disappearing. But we finally proved astantine's existence when we created it for the first time in 1940.
If you go to a hospital and get an operation, they gonna inject your ass with the vaccines whether you ask for it or not. Check it out.
When you go to the hospital, if you need surgery, you need a knee replacement surgery, first they're going to ask you if you've had the vaccine. You're going to say no. Then they're going to say, well, you need to sign this consent. If you're going to have vaccine, if you're going to have surgery, you need to sign a consent. In the consent, there's a word called biogenics. If you sign the consent saying, I consent for you to give me biogenics, that basically means they can give you anything that they deem necessary, including vaccines.
Yeah. So if I need an operation, I'm staying awake.
Period. And I'm not signing nothing.
Imagine signing up for a mystery school in 2025 and learning telepathy, telekinesis, and how to project your consciousness out of your body. And guess what? It's all taught through the mail. Now in my last videos I covered the Golden Dawn, Crowley's OTO, and BOTA, also known as Builders of the Adytum. But today we're looking at the largest Rosicrucian organization in the world, AMORC, also known as the Ancient and Mystical Order Rosicrucis. Now here's how the curriculum actually works. You receive weekly monographs in the mail, 8 to 20 page lessons that take about 90 minutes per week to complete. Now the system is designed as a lifelong path which takes years to master. You start as a neophyte in the atrium section, then progress through 12 temple degrees, which each build on the last. Now the second degree teaches you how to eliminate bad habits and tap into your subconscious through autosuggestion. The third explores the mysteries of death, rebirth, and the eternal nature of the soul. The seventh focuses on the aura and projecting your psychic body outside your physical form. And by the 9th degree, you're learning practical telepathy, telekinesis, and something they call vibroturgy, using vibrations to affect matter. The 11th degree is called the Illuminati section, and this is where you learn spiritual alchemy, cosmic consciousness, and how to attune with what they call your cosmic masters. After that comes the 12th degree and beyond, an entirely separate order called Ordo Summum Bonum with 9 additional degrees exploring the metaphysics of natural law. Each lesson includes practical exercises you perform at home. You set up a personal altar, perform meditation and visualization experiments, and practice the techniques throughout the week. The organization has 1,200 physical lodges in 86 countries where initiated members meet to perform rituals. Now, the AMRC operates from a 5-acre Egyptian-style temple complex in San Jose, California. They have a museum, a planetarium, and a library that's open to the public. And the organization has around 250,000 members worldwide, and it operates as a tax-exempt religious organization. So, yeah, you can join online, receive weekly lessons teaching you telekinesis and astral projection, and if you're dedicated enough, progress through 21 plus degrees of initiation over decades of your life. Now, if you want to learn more about modern-day mystery schools like these, make sure to like the video, let me know what you think about AMRC in the comments below, and follow for more deep dives into esoteric groups like this. Until next time.
Tell me a time you ever saw Brooklyn flooded like this after a rainstorm. I am born and raised in Brooklyn. I have never saw Brooklyn look like this after a rainstorm. So you're telling me the rain came off the coast and did this to Brooklyn? Or are you telling me that our drainage system is just that bad that Brooklyn is flooded like this? I've been through Hurricane Sandy. We had some crazy storms in the 90s. We had some crazy storms in the 80s. And I ain't never seen Brooklyn look like this. We see what Hurricane Melissa did to Jamaica. But then if you go down that rabbit hole and you look up Vision 2030 Jamaica, you tell me what that means. So now you gotta ask yourself, what's going on in Brooklyn? Because I've never saw rain do that to Brooklyn, let alone a spot in Brooklyn that's not by water. And this is for entertainment purposes only. But this leads me back to Texas. Earlier this year, floods, rain, unexplainable rain, no warning, no nothing. So you're telling me that these people didn't know that Brooklyn was going to get this type of weather? And then I have to ask myself, what do they want with Brooklyn? What do they want with Brooklyn? I'm going to just say this. I've never seen Brooklyn look like that ever in my whole entire existence. Pay attention.
You know what? A lot of people want to attribute that to global warming, but I don't know. Bill Gates came out and said, global warming isn't as bad as we think. So, it leaves you up in arms, man. You're not really too sure what's going on, but speculation is at an all-time high.
Let's talk about how your skin varies in thickness depending on where you're looking. This is skin off the back. This is skin around your calves. And believe it or not, this is skin from an eyelid.
weeks ago, I came across this massive lion's mane jelly on my morning walk. It had just washed up on the shore and was actually still alive and actively contracting its bill, which was super cool to see. Lion's mane jellies are the world's largest jellyfish species. Their size can vary depending on location, with their bell reaching around 3 feet in diameter and their tentacles extending over 100 feet.
Heidi right here. Heidi straight ahead. Heidi. Heidi's the back right here. Heidi right here.
Every year they're getting better and better with these costumes. Or was that even a costume?
The course of his astral projections, he discovered that we're living in a control system that is managed by entities who work for a demiurge that's harvesting us for what he called loosh.
Mm-hmm.
He said that we're in a loosh farm, that humans are being deliberately subjected to conditions that create extreme emotional states. Extreme suffering, misery, fear, terror, ecstasy, extreme desire, pathological impulses, and these are all being used to basically generate a form of energy that they can harvest from the human soul, including after death, where they basically juice souls for the loosh.
You know, I've heard a few different versions of what he just said, and it's so believable when you just look around and see what's going on in this lifetime. It's just a lot of unbelievable pain, suffering, happiness, joy. They're extremes of everything. Some of it unnecessary, some of it self-inflicted. I don't know. There's something to that. There's definitely something to that.
We hadn't no sooner turned down the road than my brother, and he said, well, don't look. But there's something there beside your window. I thought he was messing with me. Those wings, they were big like a bird. Those eyes, that was something you could not miss. So big and so red. I tell everybody, I haven't seen a red like that to this day. I was about 14 and I saw this Mothman that hit Point Pleasant and busted it wide open to this day.
The Mothman story started here in Point Pleasant in November of 1966. You had two young couples riding around on the outskirts of town in what was called the TNT area. That was an old ammunitions depot back in World War II. When the war ended, they just left all the buildings and the structures. They saw what they thought was just a person standing in the road, and then they saw the wingspan come out. It was flying behind the car. They were hitting speeds of about 85, 90 miles an hour. The more people started reporting these different sightings, the elementary schools wouldn't let the kids out for a while because they thought, if it was a bird big enough to come and pick up a kid, there were really no solid answers. You had over 100 reported sightings within the next 2 years.
My brother, he was going to go try to find that thing because he decided he was going to go prove it was fake. It jumped up on top of the hood and just crouched there. If that windshield wasn't there, all I had to do was reach out and I could touch him, or he could have reached in and touched us. It just went off like that and then gone.
People would like an answer to what happened. There's thousands who come to Point Pleasant every year to go to the TNT area to look for Mothman.
People see amazing and weird things some people do in their life, and others want to some kind of bad and never do. So I guess that's why they want to hear the stories.
Now that's my first time hearing about a Mothman. Sounds pretty terrifying. If you've ever heard or ran into anything like that, definitely drop it in the comments. I'd be interested in hearing about it.
Well, here it is, you guys. The scariest bridge and scariest boat dock in all of Florida. You want to know why? It's because there are thousands of alligators out here, you guys. Look at this. No one is out here boating, fishing, tubing, kayaking, nothing, you guys. It's a beautiful day. Look at that. No one is here, you guys. You want to know why? Because you can see right over here, this is brackish water. That means even bull sharks have been found in water like this. This is right here, this bridge. Everyone knows it, but in case you haven't heard, I want to be the first one to tell you. Right over here, I believe, is the scariest because on either side, there's no one, and this place is massive, you guys. There's no one out here. Look at that sunset too. It's a beautiful sunset, and there's no one out here. Why? Because there are thousands of alligators, monkeys, could be bull sharks. There are bull sharks in Florida lakes like this, and there are even monkeys and bears, you guys. Okay, see ya.
There's a bell that's been ringing nonstop for nearly 200 years, and nobody knows how. It's called the Oxford Electric Bell, and it's been going since the 1800s, right? So inside Oxford University, there's this little glass dome with two bells inside it, and between them a tiny little metal ball swings back and forth, tapping each bell over and over. And the crazy part, it's powered by two mysterious batteries that have never been replaced, and it's been ringing since around 1840. That's over 10 billion rings with no recharging, no maintenance. Nobody even knows exactly what those batteries are made of because no one dares to open it. They don't want to risk stopping the experiment, right? And some people think that it's just like an old science experiment that happened to last this long, but other people really think that we don't fully understand energy. And here's the weirdest part, no one knows when it's going to finally stop. And maybe it'll keep ringing long after we're gone. Maybe it's going to ring so long that when it does stop, no one's going to be around to hear it.
This is the deepest swimming pool in the world. It's located in Dubai and is 60 meters deep and 3.7 million gallons of fresh water. Inside of the pool, it was designed to resemble an entire sunken city with furnished rooms and even sunken cars. You can get in a workout, play chess, or even play pool. Even Will Smith had to check it out.
Like right in front of him, and I pull my hair to the side and I show my spinal cord. Normally he will pounce on the earth. Because that is where it is easiest to kill me.
You know, it definitely was wrong of her to do that. And it kind of seemed like that tiger was cursing her out. You know what I'm saying? He was like, one day this fence ain't going to be here to save you.
My name is Patrick Agnew. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology, and I am a diagnosed sociopath. People like to believe that sociopaths are one-dimensional serial killers because, in a way, if every sociopath looks like that, then sociopaths would be easy to spot. You won't have to worry whether you're married to one or living next door to one or having birthed one, when the truth is most sociopaths resemble normal people. It's a really complex and layered question because the term sociopath is no longer used clinically. But if you're looking at it through that lens, that the classic sociopath is someone who struggles to understand the learned social emotions. So everyone has like a sort of hardwired set of emotions. These are the inherent emotions: happiness, sadness, etc. But there is another set of emotions that are learned. These are things like empathy, compassion, shame, remorse. We are taught these things mostly through modeling by caregivers. Sociopaths struggle to learn those emotions. There's been a lot of talk about the sociopathic mask and how sociopaths mask in order to charm and commit harm, when in reality, we mask for the same reasons that everyone else masks. It's easier to get through life if you are acting like everyone else does. I am masking right now. If I wasn't, I would have a much flatter affect. I wouldn't be as friendly perceiving, which isn't to say that I would be mean or that I would want to harm you or anyone in this studio, but I would probably be blinking less. I wouldn't be as engaging. But again, I think this is very relatable.
Nah, I can't relate. I mean, every emotion I show is exactly how I'm feeling. I don't have to fake it. You know what I mean? What she's saying is everything you see her doing, she had to fake it and put it on. That's creepy, man.
Who owns the entire music industry? Digital Nas has worked with Playboi Carti, Rich the Kid, ASAP Rocky, Lil Yachty. Did he witness these artists sell their soul? Playboi Carti's label Opium is signed to Interscope Records, owned by Universal Music Group. Bill Ackman is a shareholder, one of the billionaires that funded Charlie Kirk right before his life ended. Majority owned by Vincent Bolloré, who controls shipping ports in all of these African and Asian countries. He's the grandson of Nicole Goldschmidt from the Rothschild family. His grandmother was a Rothschild that helped Israel get its first weapons, allegedly. Rich the Kid is signed to Republic Records, which is also owned by UMG, owned by the same people. Another owner of UMG is Tencent. The most influential American at Tencent, David Waller-Stein. Lil Yachty and Katy Perry are signed to Capitol Records. UMG owns Capitol Records. Digital Nas worked with ASAP Rocky, owned by Sony Records. Sony Records owns Britney Spears, Beyonce, Central C, Lil Nas X, and all these people you see on screen right now. Their CEO is Robert Strenger, who won the United Jewish Appeal Award. Ye worked with Digital Nas on bangers like Vultures, Donda 2. Guess what everyone in the music industry has in common? Digital Nas is going to tell me tomorrow.
In July of 2014, a teenager named Ashik, who was living in this small town in India, reached up and he felt his very swollen and sore jaw. Now, this had been going on for a year, but his family didn't have the money for him to go to the dentist. But today, the pain was unbearable, and so he told his dad, "We gotta go." When they got to the dentist's office, the dentist looked inside of Ashik's mouth and they saw something strange, and so they got out a pick and a hammer, and they hammered that pick into Ashik's jawline. And at some point, the dentist kind of cracked through something, and when they did, the dentist was very surprised. They reached in and pulled something out, and then they just kept on digging away into Ashik's jawline. Finally, after like 7 hours, the dentist stopped, and they were able to tell Ashik what was going on. Well, Ashik had a tumor in the right side of his jaw that caused his body to grow too many teeth. In total, the dentist removed 232 extra teeth, a world record.
Hey, poor guy was really going through it. Like, when he said he was in pain, he really meant that.
Fun fact of the day. There is an inaccessible 70-foot tunnel behind Lincoln's Head in Mount Rushmore.
It's a mural, and it's called The Setiles.
Yeah.
Now, it's a whole bunch of rich people.
Oh, never seen this.
And it's a weird art painting depicting these rich people doing weird things, but Setile actually is elites backwards.
Whoa.
That's why it's called Setiles.
Setiles?
Yeah,
Oh
fam. One of the people that's in the picture not only is Jeffrey Epstein, weirdly enough, weirdly enough, in a UFO.
What?
That's gonna be really weird later. I'm gonna explain why.
Yeah.
But Ghislaine Maxwell's here depicted as a dragon.
What the fuck?
Biting a child in half. And then there's also an antenna showing the UFO with Jeffrey Epstein's head on it. And a bunch of these people in the picture or in the mural are they're identified as like very rich and powerful elites.
Yeah.
Because that's why it's literally called Setiles. Backwards is elites. Bro.
Hey, why a lot of those elites look like they were burning in hell, like under the ground? Explain that.
Have you heard of the catfish effect?
How dangerous are truly those jungles? Average man gets dropped in the jungle.
You're dead.
Really?
You're dead.
Really?
If you get dropped far enough into the jungle, you're dead.
What's killing you first?
You'll get lost. You get turned around in the Amazon. Everything looks the same. It's not like here where you have big trees and small trees and landmarks. In the Amazon, everything looks the same. And everything wants to eat you. I mean, even the bees are carnivorous in the Amazon.
What?
The bees were one of the worst torments for me. And I enjoyed being in the Amazon, by the way. I was there by choice. But mosquitoes were always a nuisance. The bees were worse because I would have like a cut on my arm. I'd always have some open wound. I had this open wound on my arm. And during the day...
DARPA is something most Americans have never heard of. It's the biggest collection of geniuses anywhere in government. These are the guys that are creating not the next generation of technology, but 3 generations from now. If there are flying saucers and they're not little green men from outer space, DARPA made them. Seriously. This always struck me as very funny. DARPA's work is so classified that one DARPA scientist sitting next to another DARPA scientist has no idea what the other guy's working on. It's too highly classified. I mean, even at the CIA, we weren't cleared.
Not even at your
position? I had to get a Q clearance once because I had to go to the Department of Energy to talk about a nuclear issue. Nobody liked the fact that I had the clearance, and I ended up having the clearance just for 1 day, and then they revoked it. But that's how DARPA is too. And this is another thing that always struck me as funny. There's a DARPA website, and they have pictures of scientists like, working together all in bliss. These are just generic pictures of random people you pull off the internet. These aren't DARPA people that are in the pictures. You can't show the DARPA people. They're too highly cleared.
You notice how they never spoke about it in the media. Nobody ever mentions them in public. They're very secretive. That makes a lot of sense because you don't know where this technology is coming from, and it has to come from somewhere.
You know the singer Diana Ross? Yeah. She did the cover of Ain't No Mountain High Enough in 1967.
Good song.
Yeah, great song, right? After she did this song, all the way in 2004, because she was married at the time, to this guy. What are the freaking odds of this? Her husband so happened to be from a mountain accident.
Wow.
Her husband in 2004 was climbing a mountain in South Africa, and his equipment ended up loosening and he fell to his...
Are you ready to test your intuition today? So behind this card, there's a fruit, okay? I'm gonna walk you through an exercise to open up your awareness so that you can really place yourself in a moment and be present with yourself, okay? If you don't have time to do this exercise now, make sure you save it for later. Remember to pay attention how the information comes in for you because this is gonna tell you which clair ability you are using. So behind this card, there is a fruit, okay? I want you to really focus in on what this fruit is. So we're going to do a short breathing exercise, but I'm going to walk you through a scenario. So I want you to keep your eyes closed, okay? I want you to close your eyes now, okay? As you close your eyes, I want you to imagine yourself stepping into a garden. As you step into this garden, you realize there's so many different fruits surrounding you. As you're walking through this garden, there's this one fruit that is grabbing your attention. I want you to reach your hand out and I want you to grab this fruit. Now look at the fruit in your hand. What color is this fruit? What does it feel like as you're holding it? Does this fruit feel familiar to you? I want you to open up your eyes now, okay? And I want you to remember to trust what you receive, okay? You ready? There are grapes. Now, were you able to pick up on the fruit? Were you able to pick up just on the color? So let me know how you got your answer. Let me know how you did.
First thing that popped in my mind was a blood orange. You know what I'm saying? I want one of those right now, as a matter of fact. I might have to go ahead to the grocery store. Let me know what you got. Because that was an interesting one, definitely. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by it again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. Join the iTrack family if you're not already a part of it. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.